Hello everyone, welcome to a new video of On Sale Only. They've extended last week's sale into a even longer but also bigger sale, and we're going to go over a couple of the highlights. First off, we have the Photon shooter module, and this is for a game creator, so it requires the Photon module as well as the shooter module, and basically it allows you to carry over all of your single player shooter experiences with game creator into a multiplayer version. Honestly, would recommend this to anyone that is looking for exactly that. And what would a sale be without another Cinti asset? This time it's Polygon boss zombies, and honestly the name kind of says it all. They're, zombie models, but kind of like boss models for games. A couple of them are really big, they're quite unique, and they honestly look really cool. So if you are making a zombie game, kind of a necessity. I've covered Polyverse Skies before, but it's still worth mentioning. Considering the amount of people that go for a low poly type of game, Polyverse Skies is just a really wonderful addition. I would recommend this to anyone. I'm using it myself. I really enjoy it. So yeah, definitely recommend this. This is definitely a interesting one. We have the Amplify Bundle, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are aware of Amplify Shader Editor. It's something I didn't use before because I was using URP and HDRP, but now that I'm actually using default render pipeline for a couple of projects, I'm picking this bundle up myself. I really miss a decent shader editor. Another interesting thing here is Amplify Imposters. I'm really curious to try this out, but basically Amplify Imposters would really allow you to improve performance by a lot by a simple one-click replacement for complex geometry. I think it's really interesting, so I'll definitely play around with that. And then in the last thing we have in the bundle as well is Amplify LUT Pack. Now basically this is for color grading in post-processing. I mean, it's included, so I'm going to try it out, of course. I think it's definitely interesting. Color grading is always important in games, obviously, but it's something we often tend to, leave for the very last phases unless it's really, unique and necessary for the game's look. But, it's included, so I'm gonna give it a go as well. These next two assets don't really need much of an introduction. Gaia 2 and Gaia Pro are incredibly popular terrain tools, and I actually had to look up what the difference between these two really is. So basically Gaia Pro includes advanced masking and filtering, a high quality forest biome and water system, as well as profile driven lighting and water. And then there's a ton of other assets included as well, like textures, trees, rocks, etc, etc. Personally, I'm not really interested in any of that. I have way too many of those types of assets already, and the price difference between these two is quite big. So I'm going to try out Gaia 2 myself. It's a bit heavier on performance than, for example, Map Magic, but it could actually be really interesting for small maps. It actually allows you to create maps pretty fast. So if you're not going for something procedural, it might be worth looking into. Next up we have Upgen Lighting, and I do want to highlight here that there is a different version for HDRP and standard render pipeline. There is none for URP at the moment, if I'm correct. I didn't see it anyway. So something to keep in mind. Basically, Upgen Lighting promises amazing lighting results. I am interested in giving this a try, especially for the standard render pipeline, as HDRP already does lighting pretty well, which is kind of the appeal there. But if I can get similar results with just the default render pipeline, that does sound interesting. So yeah, I'll give this a go as well. Next up we have Advanced People Pack, and low poly looks are really popular, and it's nice to see something else than Cinti for once. So basically these are all modular characters. There's a lot of updates, and the pack is becoming a lot more interesting real quick. So if you are looking for the low poly look but are just not interested in having yet another Cinti model, this is actually really worth looking into. And as you might know, I'm a big MicroSplat fan, so I would recommend MicroSplat Scatter to everyone. Basically, it allows for a lot of scattering of multiple textures laid on top of each other. It's really cool. It really makes your terrain look different, even though you're still officially locked within the limit. It just allows you to use a lot more textures, so definitely a good one. And we have decals. I'm not sure if this is new or just haven't seen it before, but I picked this up already. It's definitely interesting to me, as especially for smaller maps or certain areas in the map, decals can really add the level of detail that it's just impossible to do with just a generated map. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Next up, we have volumetric blood fluids, and yeah, this trailer is a bit exaggerated and a bit graphic, but it just wants to show how it really works. And I think the interesting thing here is that it's not simply a VFX effect that just pops out of the enemy and that's it. It actually is volumetric in the sense of that it actually impacts the character, it actually impacts the floor. So quite a bit different than your default particle effect. I find this really interesting. I have plenty of Crypto's assets. They're always really good. Some of the best realistic assets out there when it comes to particle effects. So really cool. I just hope it doesn't have to be as exaggerated as in the trailer, but I'll find out. Now this is not the type of asset I usually cover, but at this low price, Sci-Fi MegaCity actually offers something really interesting. So I see this more as a decor, not really like a city you'd have your character walk through or something like that. But for its low price, this is actually an amazingly good looking, detailed asset, and it's just really cheap. So yeah, definitely worth looking into if you are creating a sci-fi game. Now this is a bit of an interesting one. On the one hand, it absolutely looks great, it looks amazing, and on the other hand, I'm not really sure I should recommend this, because it seems like it took a lot of inspiration from Supercell. I'm not really sure if you're familiar with the mobile games. They have Clash of Clans, Clash of War, something like that. And basically this looks a lot like their UI. And when I say a lot, I mean incredibly similar. So that's why I'm kind of I want to recommend it in one way because honestly it looks amazing. There's tons of UI elements in here, and for mobile, it's obviously a really polished look. On the other hand, I'm almost afraid you get some copyright infringement issues. So yeah, I'm not really sure about this one, but that's for you to decide. And that's it for this week's on sale only. And I say this week, but the sale doesn't actually last that long anymore. You only have until the 30th of September to pick these up, so don't wait too long. As always, all of the links are in the description. So thanks for watching and see you next time.